Why has Saudi Arabia become a place for talks between Ukraine and Russia, and why is there a push for Arab mediation in the Ukraine war? It's a complex situation, so let's break it down. First, why Saudi Arabia as a place for talks? One key reason is that Saudi Arabia offers a neutral-ish ground. While they have strong ties to the US, they also maintain working relationships with Russia. This perceived neutrality, or at least a position that's not as overtly aligned as some Western nations, makes it an acceptable venue. It's a place where parties who might be hesitant to meet in NATO countries or Russia itself could feel more comfortable. Another factor is regional influence. Saudi Arabia is a major player in the Middle East, wielding significant economic and political influence. Their ability to convene and host these talks lends them weight and importance. There's also their willingness to engage. Saudi Arabia has shown a willingness to play a more active role in international diplomacy and conflict resolution. Hosting these talks aligns with their ambition to be seen as a key mediator. Let's not forget economic interests. Saudi Arabia has economic interests tied to the stability of global energy markets, which have been heavily impacted by the Ukraine war. Mediating or facilitating talks could help stabilize these markets. And finally, there's precedent. Saudi Arabia has hosted other high-level diplomatic meetings and peace talks in the past, establishing a track record as a host for such events. Now, let's look at why Arab mediation. A big reason is the perception of impartiality. As mentioned earlier, there's a perception that some Arab nations, including Saudi Arabia, can offer a more impartial perspective compared to Western or Eastern powers directly involved in the conflict. This is crucial for building trust between the warring parties. There's also cultural understanding. Arab mediators might possess a better understanding of the cultural nuances and historical contexts that influence the conflict, which could be helpful in finding common ground. We also have leveraging relationships. Arab nations often have relationships with various parties involved in the conflict, or with countries that have influence over those parties. These relationships can be leveraged to facilitate communication and negotiation. Don't overlook regional experience. Some Arab countries have experience in mediating regional conflicts, which provides them with valuable insights and skills that can be applied to the Ukraine war. And there's Global South representation. Emphasizing Arab mediation can be seen as an attempt to involve voices from the Global South in the resolution of the conflict, countering the perception that it's solely a Western or European issue. Of course, there are important considerations. There are complexities of neutrality. Even if some Arab states are perceived as more neutral, they still have their own interests and agendas, which can influence their mediation efforts. And there's the effectiveness of mediation. Mediation is a complex process, and its success depends on various factors, including the willingness of the warring parties to negotiate in good faith. Finally, there are international dynamics. The role of Arab mediators is also influenced by the broader international dynamics, including the involvement of major powers like the US, Russia, and China. In conclusion, Saudi Arabia's emergence as a venue for talks and the push for Arab mediation in the Ukraine war are driven by a combination of factors. These include the perception of neutrality, regional influence, willingness to engage, and the desire to involve diverse perspectives in resolving the conflict.